We get a lot of angry people saying Mexico is safe in the tourist hotspots and we shouldn't be making videos trying to scare people and get clicks. Excuse me, we're not trying to scare people. We want our listeners to know that this is happening in Mexico and where it's happening in Mexico and how it is happening in Mexico, and that tourist hotspots are not as safe as they once were. So we're going to keep reporting on these crimes in Mexico. Hello and welcome to our Retire Early Lifestyle. Today we're going to give you an update to what is happening where the North Americans love to travel and move to. Our first stop takes us to a popular Mexico touristy beach that was recently attacked by aerial drones. Now, why would the U.S. consulate bother to warn Americans about these drone attacks? Well, because they are attacking in tourist zones of Mexico. U.S. consulate warns about cartel aerial bombing attack in Mexico, although the Mexican government remains silent about it. We probably wouldn't have even bothered with this story, but these drone attacks happened just days after the two banners were left by the Sinaloa Cartel, stating they will start going after U.S. citizens in Mexico in retaliation to raids and seizures against them by the U.S. government. Mexico has been quite dangerous for years, but the heat is getting turned up right now, especially the border areas. If American citizens are driving into Mexico, you might want to think twice before venturing into Mexico at this time. You may be thinking, who goes to the beach near Tijuana anyway? Well, actually, a lot of people, and yes, even Americans, go to the playas of Tijuana. Not only that, but Americans actually live there in their beach houses and condos in this very area. They say Playas Tijuana is not as dangerous as being in the city of Tijuana, and Americans stay in Tijuana Beach because it's more peaceful and safer. Tijuana Beach has many hotels, Airbnbs, nightclubs, bars, and nightlife activities that attract young folks from California. And just to give you an idea what Tijuana Beach looks like, here are some photos of the area. Very close nearby, about 8 miles away, is another American hotspot beach called Rosarito Beach, which we have gone to several times in the past. There it is, right here on the map. Rosarito Beach gets packed with American tourists, and many Americans also live there. And here's what it looks like. So yes, these aerial drone attacks were right around this vicinity where tourists from the U.S. are known to visit and live. I asked AI if drones that attack with bombs are really dangerous, and here is the response I got. Yes, aerial drones equipped with bombs can cause harm to people. These drones are designed to deliver explosive payloads to specific targets, which can lead to physical injuries or fatalities among individuals in the vicinity of the strike. The first question we need to ask ourselves is, why are Mexican gangs aerial bombing near beaches with tourists on them? And why is the Mexican government not reporting on these attacks? That's crazy. Now here's the message from the U.S. consulate in Tijuana. They've alerted U.S. citizens to these drone attacks right away and told them to stay clear of the area. The U.S. consulate in Tijuana sounded the alarm about a terrorist cartel attack involving explosive devices that caused various blasts near the beach hotspot of Playas de Tijuana. Mexican authorities have remained silent. A group of cartel gunmen used drones to drop explosive devices on the headquarters of the anti-kidnapping unit of the Baja California Attorney General's office in Playas de Tijuana. The Mexican government has been very quiet about these drone attacks. I wonder why. In contrast, Mexican authorities did not issue any alerts or warnings to the public, despite Playas de Tijuana being a tourist hotspot known for its beaches, bars, and restaurants. Now, there have been similar drone attacks in Sinaloa, Mexico, causing the local residents to have to flee the area because they're afraid for their life, and this was reported from the Mexico News. Cartel drone attacks forced residents to flee El Chapo's hometown in Sinaloa. These drone aerial attacks are the new thing that the cartel are now using to target those who oppose them. Sinaloa, by the way, is where the hotspot beach resort of Mazatlan is located. A lot of Americans make this trek by car from the U.S. border all the way down to deeper parts of Mexico. You might want to reconsider that whole idea. Actually, you might want to reconsider Mexico right now. Our next story takes us not too far away from Tijuana to the beach town of Ensenada. This entire area is an old stomping ground of ours. However, we decided that Mexico is not it. Maybe if the world becomes more peaceful in the future, we may revisit, but we wouldn't hold our breath waiting. We had a few run-ins with some bad apples, but thankfully, and because we are well versed in what danger behaves like and looks like, we were able to escape from possible kidnappings on 2 separate occasions. Just to give you a little background about Ensenada before we share this story with you, Ensenada is home to around 5,000 to 10,000 Americans at any given time. So there are expats that live here, and where this story unfolds is where most of the retirees live in Ensenada. Now there are some excellent Mexican restaurants in this area. There's a bunch of grocery stores, Mexican mom and pop shops in this exact area where this shooting happened. Ensenada is also one of the more expensive areas on the Baja Peninsula. Ensenada is located in the northern part of Baja. The beaches are long, wide, and beautiful, and it caters to Californians. Lots of people from the States drive through Baja Peninsula because there are tourist beach towns located along the whole peninsula of Baja, the whole Strand area. But lately, and unfortunately in the last few years, Ensenada has been riddled with crime, and it's slowly creeping south from Tijuana. Baja in general has had some horrific crimes against Americans. We showcased one of them not that long ago. And that brings me to our next Mexico crime story. 6 cartel gunmen killed and clashed near Mexican beach hotspot. 6 cartel gunmen died in a shootout near the beach tourist hotspot of Ensenada, Baja California. Now, Frank and I used to walk on this road where this very shooting happened almost every day, and that just sends chills down my spine as I make this video. Don't think you're safe anywhere in Mexico. We get a lot of angry people saying Mexico is safe in the tourist hotspots, and we shouldn't be making videos trying to scare people and get clicks. Excuse me, we're not trying to scare people. We want our listeners to know that this is happening in Mexico, and where it's happening in Mexico, and how it is happening in Mexico, and that tourist hotspots are not as safe as they once were. So we're going to keep reporting on these crimes in Mexico, Americans' #1 hotspot, where a lot of Americans go there. These shills are numerous within this niche, and they present a stronghold of misinformation for the entire industry. You know, they have no care for their fellow man, since they are willing to risk your neck, not theirs, for the sake of the almighty dollar. And well, the cartels are not your friend, and they will do what they deem necessary at the moment to fight with whom they perceive as their rivals. Now, there are too many vested interests videos stating that the cartel leave tourists alone and they try not to shoot around tourists. This is misinformation geared to keep you moving to and taking their relocation tours and buying their properties. Vested interests and shills for the Rams love to minimize crime in these hotspot areas, but it really makes them look bad. The cartels are nobody's friends but themselves. So, you know, that's all we have to say on that. All right, let's lighten up the mood a bit. Moving on to our next story today. Where in the world are Americans moving to now? 8 most popular destinations for 2025 for Americans moving abroad. Now, this was reported early on in 2025. So according to this shipping company, the Shoemaker Cargo Logistics, they move people's belongings from America to a foreign country. Here is where Americans are moving to, the ones that use them for their services. Portugal, Spain, Costa Rica, Italy, France, Germany, New Zealand, and Japan. Now, it would seem that a shipping company would actually know where Americans are moving to internationally, at least those that use their company for shipping, and so it seems somewhat believable, doesn't it? We think it is reasonable to say this is where some Americans have moved to and hang their expat hat for a while. It's also telling of the types of Americans that are moving there. This is the category of those that ship a container overseas. They are their own category after all. It is a category that only those in the know understand the ramifications of doing such a thing. And we won't get into that here in this video, but we've talked about it plenty on other videos. We also think Mexico is a top spot place where Americans still move to, regardless of the spike in crimes and crimes against tourists. It's just so close and easy for Americans to drive to. Here's what came up for me when I used Google Trends to find out what Americans are searching for and which countries Americans are searching for, and take a look at this. This is for the last 30 days and what Americans are searching for categorized under the travel heading. But I truly think most of these searches are not for moving there, but for traveling there, visiting and taking a vacation. In this next graph, I took Japan and Spain off and added New Zealand and Germany, since that was the top 8 countries up there at the top from the shipping company. It was in the top 8, and now Italy moved up to number 1, and it's getting twice as many searches than the other countries. Now that's interesting. I also asked ChatGPT where Americans are moving to, and we got this response. Top destinations for Americans paradoxically remain popular. Despite the overall decline in emigration, certain countries have maintained their appeal. Popular destinations for relocating Americans include Portugal, Spain and France, and of course, there's our little darling Mexico. So there you go, our 3 sources, Google Trends, the shipping company, and ChatGPT are pretty much saying the same countries. But ChatGPT gets its information from all the other websites on the internet. Now, would we move to any of these countries? Not in a million years. But we would visit New Zealand, Germany, and Italy again, and even take our 2 or 3 month extended vacation in these countries. Most of the top rated destinations that are on the best places to live, Retirement Global Index, are becoming more dangerous and are just not the countries they once were. To us, they don't even sound like good vacation destinations anymore, just because of all the scrutiny against tourism that reportedly is harming and damaging their countries now. It just doesn't seem fun anymore, traveling to these countries, So anyway, that's what we have for you in this video. We hope you enjoyed that. Stay safe and take care. Bye-bye.